Hello, dear viewer, dear listener. Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. I'm the host of this show. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. I make it my business to invite entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes. They come here and they share their life stories and they share experiential knowledge. So do make it a point to subscribe to this channel.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Are you good?
I'm very well. Very well. Hello, dear viewer, dear listener. My guest is Mr. Godson Tshipietsile. Welcome to.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You're a filmmaker and you are a movie maker.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between film and movies?
Film and movie is one thing,
Yes.
but film and TV, it's two different things.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's the film industry, there's the TV industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain to the viewer who exactly you are and what you do? I always want my guests to be the ones who give us goods on their background.
True. My name is Godson, like you had said. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an avid art lover. So I've been doing everything art, from drawing to singing or managing artists. And finally, I found my foot in film. So I'm just a filmmaker. So I like everything film. I like everything TV. I just like creating imaginations. That's just who I am.
My idea of a filmmaker is somebody like Steven Spielberg or somebody of that size, you know.
True. Those are
There's a guy called Cameron as well.
Yeah.
The
Those
guy
are
who made
the
the Titanic.
true.
Do you see yourself going to those levels one day?
I just see an Oscar in the next 5 years. So that's where I'm going, because in Botswana, we have really amazing stories that haven't been tapped into. So I feel we still have a very competitive advantage in as far as going that far is concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
You when we preparing for the show, you talked about the importance of taking a jump, taking a start.
True.
Using your life as an experience, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I haven't always been a filmmaker. So I started my career elsewhere. I started my career in the music industry. And then I actually gave up on everything and started, because I had studied psychology. So I went ahead and tried to use my psychology degree. But over time...
How long were you studying psychology?
I studied psychology for 5 years in UB. And then I realized that when you have that bug that's always saying create, I ended up just going to do my postgrad in film with after. And then I just took that leap of faith. After my psychology degree, I have a 9 to 5. I believe it wasn't a bad paying job, but it wasn't just for me, because
Where were you working?
I was with a certain bank. Yeah, I was with a certain bank here in Gaborone, and I was doing customer experience. And then I just realized that, this is not for me. My calling is with the arts. So then I just took a jump, quit everything. I didn't plan on quitting. I just quit, and then just told myself that I'm going to start being a filmmaker.
How long have you been a filmmaker?
I started filmmaking from 2015, so I was learning then. 2016, I was still learning. And then I think I got my first break in 2017 when I really now went into the film industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's important to create your value. What value should we be creating generally as an entrepreneurs and specifically as filmmakers?
Yeah, true.
How do you assess and how do you quantify that value?
Yeah. So when you say you're a filmmaker, people would expect you to have a film out, which is not actually the case in Botswana. But for the reasons that creating films is expensive, but you still need to create your value in the industry. So what I've gotten to realize over the years is that I'm as good as my last job. And my last job is always what I do for the client. So most of the time I'll tell the client, this is what I've done, but for us to move forward, let me create something for you. So that's how I've been able to create my value over the years. I don't go to a client and say, I'm a filmmaker, this is what I do, so give me your money. I create that value for the client. I give the client the value, and then the client will tell me, I just give the client what they never had before.
So do you let your work speak for you then?
I let my work speak for me.
And how has it worked out so far?
It has. I've been in different tables that I didn't expect I would be when I was obviously studying psychology. I've been with a couple of, even outside of Botswana, I've done works in Tanzania, I've done works in Zambia, and all the time it has been my job speaking for me. So.
And where is your main focus? What sort of films are you shooting?
what I realized is that I had a film last year that made it to the cinema, to a sold out cinema. But what I then realized was
Which one was that?
it was called A Bet. So I produced, me and a couple of my friends
BAT.
BAT, The Bet.
Okay.
Yeah, so we definitely just came together and created a really wonderful film. But then after we created the film, we also realized that the film could compete in the international space, but we opened it to a lot of competition. So now I narrowed my focus to create our stories. So the African stories, the Tswana story, because over the years I also realized that we don't have Tswana stories taken outside. Yeah.
Sometimes I fantasize about having the stories of Bodimo. Those stories were told as children. I wonder whether those can translate to film.
They can. I mean, we have great stories. We have the stories of Lentswala Baratani. We have really great stories. Kokomudumo. We really, Bodimo is like our Shrek, Matieng. So we have this really great stories. We also have those totems in Botswana where you see here the stories about.
Do we have elders still around to tell these stories? Are they still available?
Some of the stories were documented more weekends about Mainani. So we can still get those stories and expand them, add a bit of our imaginations to them, add obviously the modern day technology, and just take them out to the world, because these are the stories that you can't find them anywhere. So that's just our competitive advantage.
It's important in any situation to identify your strengths, and you and I agree that you have to know your strong points.
True.
Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah. So I'll just give an example of my life journey. So when I got into the film industry, obviously having been to a film school, you get to experience cameras, you get to experience writing, producing, and a whole lot of different things around film. But what I got into realize, I was always great at content producing, writing, but I know that people who are really strong at writing, but I also have that strength in writing. And what I realized was to give away the cameras and just put my focus into writing, into content producing, and just to let people who can really use the cameras use the cameras. So that's just how I sort of found my niche in the space.
It also helps with finding collaborations, isn't it? So that you're not looking inward.
True.
You collaborate with others.
Yeah, because when you're doing everything alone, it's sort of, I think it brings down your value. So when I get someone who's really good at using the cameras, I get that person. When I get someone who's good at sound, I let them to create sound. If I'm good at directing, I just concentrate on directing and producing. So everyone brings that strong points, and then that's just how we can be able to compete in the market, knowing your strength.
Just carrying on with your conversation, I want us to touch on the subject of the idea of not being swayed.
Yeah.
The idea of not being distracted, and the idea of sticking to your game plan.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that and help the viewer also understand how to go about that?
Yeah. So when it comes to sticking to my one thing, which I have defined my one thing to be film, I've realized that it came out really when I did a lot of self-introspection during the lockdown period. So I realized that there was just a lot of panic. The first few weeks, there was just a lot of panic. I also panicked, but I just, I just looked at it that what do I really want to do with my life going forward? And then I just decided that from now going forward, I'm just going to be known for being a storyteller. So I did stick to my ground in as far as I didn't let the COVID panic just sway me off. So I just defined what I really wanted to do with my life, which is just to be a storyteller, a filmmaker, and making more films. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So often you are tempted to do something to say, look, an additional side hustle, and people talk of multiple streams of income. How do you ensure that you stick to your path and not get distracted, especially when times are hard?
Yeah. So over the years, what I've also gotten to realize is that multiple streams of income, it's a good thing to bank on other things. But with me, I think it's because I was so passionate into film that I started a couple of businesses on the side just to help me pay for the bills, take my kids to school and all. But what I also realized, my businesses suffered because I didn't give them enough attention as I was giving all my love to film. So that's one thing I'm just in the ropes of learning also, not just as a filmmaker, but as a business person, just to get the right partners that can, if I'm investing elsewhere, they can run with the business, people that are really passionate in that industry, then I can just stick to and stay to my lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read somewhere, moving to the next point, that the real difference between multi-billionaires and millionaires is that multi-billionaires say no more often.
Yeah.
And I noticed that one of your your key points is to learn and to discipline yourself to say no and not to be afraid about it.
True.
Can you speak to that a bit more?
What I also realized, just being a filmmaker and owning cameras and everything, people are always expecting you to shoot. Like when there's a wedding at home, they'll ask, "Where's the camera?" When my wife wants to do anything, "Where's the camera?" There's always that, "Where's the camera?" So what I gotten to realize is that no, I'm just gonna distance myself from the camera. So I came up with where it's either I know I'm adding when I take my cameras off the studio, it's either I'm adding value to the company through either servicing a new client or trying to solicit a new client, or it's paid for. So that's where I gotten to really know when to say no. So even when I see that the job is not up to my value that I want, I don't shy away from saying no, because I know every job you do comes with a lot of stress. So the stress has to be worth what you're investing in, and as far as your skills, your intellect and everything. So that's how I've been able to say my no over the time.
Okay. Now, talking about making film specifically, you often read about sticking to your why.
Yeah.
What would you say is your why? What is the big motivating why? And why is it you believe that it's necessary for us, if we are to be successful, to stick to our why?
Yeah. You really need to know why you started doing what you are doing. With me, I had my goals in as far as what I wanted to do in film. I wanted to not only tell Tswana stories, but also profit from the Tswana stories, so I can benefit my family and those around me. So my why has always been to tell unique stories and profit from them, but at the same time, really being able to compete in the international space. So everything I do, I always try to make sure that it takes me a step closer to my why. So my why is just to tell our unique Tswana stories. Yeah.
I want us to talk about the importance of not stopping to learn, to keep learning. But before I do, let me just tease you a little bit by you asking who are your favorite filmmakers and why?
Yeah. So I have my favorites around the world, but I've narrowed it down mostly to South Africa. So I have the people that I look up to now is one of my mentors, Vincent Moloi. He's in South Africa. He's a really wonderful film producer. I also look out to Karisoli Dira. There's a guy in Zambia, he's called Fred Peary. I looked up to other people like Yotaba Molea. These are guys that are really shaking the South African film space. And most of them, I always try just to reach out to them.
What movies have they made? Who made Tsotsi? Is it one of them?
No, Tsotsi, it's not one of the Tsotsi. I try to look at those that tell, the current storytellers, people I can reach out to, and we can see how to always work together.
So
also,
where does one find their work?
Vincent is on all of them are on Netflix and Sansi Magic. One of them has done Gomorrah. Vincent has done Jovicho on it's on Netflix now. It was on SABC1. So those are the people I always try to reach out to and have had meetings with some of them.
So how soon are we going to see Godson featured on Netflix?
My plan and my goal is towards end of this year. I want to release what I call that unique Tswana film that I doubt even people in South Africa can create such a story. I'm looking into creating such a film by end of year. So what I'm doing right now is just to try to get funding behind the film before we take it to the market.
Talk a bit more about not stopping to learn, continuous learning.
True, you need to learn. As much as I had studied film, there's always what happens in the industry. So I need to learn from those that came before me and those that are coming after us, because they always, I mean, this kids these days always bring new skills to the game. But they can control 3 cameras alone. So those are the things that we need to know. How are they doing these things so that we're always. I learn mostly through my partnerships. So I have different partnerships from the older generation and those that are coming. That's just how I learn from all of them at once.
When you say kids controlling 3 cameras alone, our cameraman Baba Saku shoots 3 cameras and is alone. So it's already happening.
True, that's what they do. That's what they do. They have found ways to even vision mix and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Now there's a question of mentorship and reaching out to those who inspire you.
Yeah.
How does that feature in your life? Can you give examples?
True. What I've done over the years is always try to reach out to opportunities. I mean, right now I have a new mentor who's just mentoring me in as far as business is concerned. So I will reach out to it's through the venture Capital for Africa. So I have a mentor there who's just teaching me how to go around in as far as it's called Lerumo. So I just reached out to him. I need
Communicate
help.
how? On Skype?
Right now we've been
Zoom.
doing Zoom calls, but the plan is now to start having physical meetings because he's in Botswana. Yeah. But I also reach out to most of the jobs I've gotten over the years, even having done work in Zambia, was through reaching out to people to say, I really like what you do, but this is what I can do. And most of the time people say, oh, I like what you do. Can we then work together? That's just how I try to.
I've often said to my mentees that it's important for them to add value.
Yeah.
So how, as a mentee, do you add value to your mentor?
Yeah. So my current mentor, we've had 3 calls now, but he's just been really interested in film. And I mean, he has other avenues that he told me about to say, I can add you to my network. So you can always pitch to different people and as far as funding for your project is concerned. But also, I also told him how the industry works, just to open it up to him to say, this is how it works. If you want to invest in it also, you can see how to invest in it. So I also open that up while I'm still trying to learn from him also.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, the idea of engaging in bigger partnerships with him. Yeah.
True.
Let's talk about dream. I mean, going beyond the famous speech by Dr. Martin Luther King.
I have a dream. Yeah.
In your life, what role is dreaming playing, and how do you actually go about executing on your dream?
Yeah. I think with me being obviously a writer, a creative person, I daydream a lot. I daydream to a point where I now have my Oscar speech ready, and the biggest thing I'm doing is
very
now
ambitious.
Now is to
Mark those words, dear listener.
True.
He already has an Oscar
speech ready. So I'm
That's
working
wonderful.
towards that now.
Yeah.
All of the other wins, they're good wins, but I'm working towards having to deliver my Oscar speech. Yeah, in the next 5 years.
Wonderful. And to get there, you probably have to produce quite a number of good movies.
Quite a number of very good movies, and not to even back down in as far as quality is concerned, and as far as obviously the team I
In terms
work
of these
with.
movies, do you have a lot of local talent as actors and actresses?
There's a lot. I mean, right now we have a couple of schools that are teaching acting. We have a couple of guys there's a friend of mine called Godson. He was on Movango. He's Motswana. He also has a film, not a film school, but just an acting classes where he teaches different people in terms of acting, presenting, and the like. So there's just a lot of untapped talent in the market right now. We just waiting for the platforms to open up. But Botswana will be very surprised how much talent we have locally.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I think people, now that we've covered the points that you wanted us to focus on, will be looking to you to inspire them, to motivate them. So as we part company, is there 1 or 2 things you want to share with the viewer that, a takeaway, if you like, something significant you want to leave them with?
So my biggest motto has always been start. Just start. And then after you start, keep going. Have your plan. obviously it's not every day that you wake up and say I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and then it just flows. But have your patience when you're working towards that plan, and you'll meet very ambitious and other inspired people along the way. Just see how best to work with other people, and have clear visions of why you're working together and what you're trying to achieve, and just keep going. The biggest thing is to start and keep going. This has been my biggest motto.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, how do the viewers reach you, and what service? I think what you have to explain is the exact services you can offer our viewers, and how they can contact you.
True. So I run a film production company called Isaho. What we do at Isaho Creatives. So what we do at Isaho, we do both long form programming, which is your films and documentaries, but we also do short form programming for clients, which is your TV commercials, your ad works, your events, you know, and I mean, people can always see most of the amazing work we do on YouTube, where is our creatives. On Facebook is just my personal profile that I put most of my stuff on. Yeah, and yeah.
And then obviously they would want to know where to reach you physically. Is there an office?
Yep. So right now, because of after the lockdown, we've just been working from home, but we have different studios we work with when we want to obviously do a couple of works. But with film, we're always on the field, so we work on the field full time. Yeah.
Well, it remains for me to tell you, Godson, that I'm highly inspired by what you just said. As a person who's committed to promoting entrepreneurship, I find what you had to share being very, very powerful. To the viewer there, I'm sure that they can see that if you can do it, they also can be inspired to pursue their dreams. So I want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come to our show.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm really honored to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.